I'll give you a clue. It was Greensby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, I've done it the wrong way around. I've drawn an arrow. I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horsey up his ass.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona,
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to the Honest Football Podcast Cup Final Prediction Show. Yes, you heard us right. Cup Final Predictions, where we are going to guess who's going to win the Champions League, Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup, the Checker Trade Trophy, the FA Trophy, and we're going to predict who's going to win them all.
So we're going to adopt the similar system to what we did with the league predictions, but obviously because it's a cup, it's just literally 5 points per cup final for the winner. Winner takes all, obviously across the various cups that we're looking at.
I think there's a good chance we'll all finish on 0.
We probably will do, yes.
Very, very good chance.
One prediction could be enough to win you it.
And first, obviously, this is the second part of our pre-season predictions. We did all of the leagues from the EFL non-league, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So go back and check that one out from last week. The link's in the eye above. Let's start.
Well, just to say, as we said in the previous one, this is being filmed at the end of July. A lot of it might have changed by the time this comes out, etc.
Particularly with the European ones, they've got another month for the transfer window.
So, yeah.
And we start with the big prize, the UEFA Champions League, where the final is in Turkey this year, in Ataturk Stadium, where Liverpool famously beat AC Milan on penalties.
Didn't know that.
But has that influenced our decisions?
Absolutely not.
Certainly not mine.
So I'm going to start. I'm normally going to go with you first, Cody, and I won't in this one. I'm going to start with Charlie Betts.
Oh, lovely.
So I think it'll be another English team. I've gone for Liverpool. I'll be honest.
So not another English team, the same English team.
I'll put my cards on the table here. I actually don't like the Champions League. I find it monotonous. I find it boring. People get really excited about it. I find it so slow. The group games, I genuinely would rather watch rugby than the group games. Everything about the competition I don't like, so for that I'm going to be really boring. Whoever won it last year, Liverpool, let's go for that again.
Well, we famously missed one of the greatest games of the Champions League history, which was Manchester City
That's
v Tottenham
true.
last year, because we were watching Craig's side, now also your side, hopefully defending a bit better with you as a coach.
when you're
drawing 5-5 after a 3-0.
Well, you could have watched a 4-3 game or 5-5.
We saw a lot of goals that night.
There's a lot of goals.
I will say, I'll rephrase that slightly. Any Champions League game doesn't really involve two English teams. Bores me to death. And I mean, I know it's controversial, but I just cannot stand it. It's so boring.
So for me, I completely disagree. It's the end of the group stages that get me, because there's so many dead rubbers. But
yeah, I think
so. Yeah,
are you just disappointed because how badly that Champions League final was in May?
No. Just genuinely, nothing would displease me more than sitting there going, right, I'm going to watch Roma. I don't know, versus Leon. It just
the thing is,
we're the opposite. We're the opposite. A few years ago, I would make sure I'm home from work from 4 o'clock to watch the Astana games, because they've got an early kickoff.
To be honest, I'm one that will go on. I won't go on BT Sport 2 or 3. I'll go on BT Sport 1, where it's like Soccer Saturday style. And once they tell me there's a goal somewhere, I've got 3 chances.
They say all killer, no filler, or whatever.
James Richardson in charge of it. And I'll just go and
once
the goal's there, boom, done.
I've got to watch a live game.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I just find it so slow, monotonous. Compare that to some of the other football we've watched lower down the leagues, in the AFCON over the summer, albeit standard is nowhere near as good, I get that. It's a bloody lot more exciting though, I've got to say that. So anyway, I'll go for Liverpool just because I'm being boring.
Do you want to go next, Craig? We'll go in reverse order.
Well, that's always me in the middle. I've gone for Barcelona to win the Champions League this year, and they're going to beat Manchester City.
No, they're not. No, they're not, Craig.
No way.
Well, shame on you. that's what I think is going to happen.
As I say at school, Craig, show me you working out.
Well, Barcelona, look at this. Obviously, they've got Messi, who is a GOAT. They signed Griezmann. He's not literally a GOAT, by the way, people. He's the greatest of all time, damn it. Obviously, Griezmann's now signed. You've still got Suarez, who's probably biting someone still, or on the floor.
Again, the thoughts Craig Savage.
Well, he's done it, I'm just saying. And also, you still got Coutinho still there. So, attacking-wise...
Therein lies the issues. How do you keep all 4 of them happy? How do you get them the game time that their contracts have probably got written?
That's the thing. Yeah,
well,
Coutinho will go. And the thing is, behind
Neymar
that...
phone in?
No.
No.
Don't get me started on Neymar. But the thing is, you've still got Dembele in behind, also there, and you've got Malcolm. So, attacking-wise, it's fantastic. So, but my only problem with picking Barcelona... They have to strengthen the defence. You can't go into a second leg of a semi-final and lose 4-0.
No.
And
that's why I personally don't think they'll win it, but yeah.
And Actually, do you know who also is going to win it? VAR. VAR is going to win Champions League. That's how.
So are you saying that VAR will get the deciding goal in the Champions League?
Well, it kind of did for a bloody. Well,
it will every year.
It will every year.
So Dan, there's the probably aficionado of European football out of the three of us.
As we proved in the quiz last week.
Yeah, Astana's going to win the Champions League.
Astana are not going to win the Champions League. I had, interestingly, also put Barcelona in the final, and I had put them up against Juventus.
Yeah,
I just think they're getting stronger and stronger. They're throwing absolutely everything at it. They've signed one of the best young centre-halves in world football. We already knew they were a brilliant side in attack. And I wanted to go for Barcelona to win it, but one, Craig's now done it. And secondly, there's a little bit of baggage from last year's one. And I don't know if it's going to make them more determined or take away. And there's still a little bit of controversy about Griezmann's transfer, which hasn't actually been confirmed.
Hasn't been confirmed.
And I've just got this little thought in the back of my mind of what if Neymar does come back, because that will just ruin everything for me.
Neymar is a toxic to football.
Yeah,
absolute disgrace of a man.
There's the same thing for Juventus as well. It's that hurdle of they haven't won the Champions League for so long. Buffon's back, 41 years.
He's not going to play.
No, but just being devil's advocate, is in the way that PSG struggle but they never quite deliver in the Champions League because you could argue the domestic league is the gap between them and everyone else is huge. Could that possibly be the same with Juventus, where because they are clearly the best team?
I mean, if I'm being honest, before Craig had said it, I had Barcelona to beat Juventus, but I don't know if I want to go for the same match. And because one result's going to decide it.
The reason why PSG don't win it or get anywhere close, because they're not good enough.
But that's the point I'm making.
They're not a good team.
Yeah, but they're not tested every week in the same way.
I agree.
I know that
exactly. Because the French league is weak. French league is completely weak. And their mentality is because it's so easy. They don't turn up when it's harder.
So that's what.
For example,
go on.
United last season, United had a C side, and United won 3-1 at their ground. Yeah, it sums up how bad PSG are.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is in terms of would that be? Because I totally agree. Juventus' team on paper is fantastic.
I love Juventus.
Could their Achilles heel be that they are that much stronger than everyone else in their league? They're not being tested.
So I suppose I better make a decision on night. I'm going to stick with the originals because it's only fair. I am going to go for Barcelona, Craig.
Very good.
On to the second European competition. It's the Europa League, where other teams, not the big teams.
No.
Actually, I'll take that back. The big teams in that league, in that competition, do struggle.
Yeah.
All right, despite being an all-English final between Arsenal and Chelsea, but if you look at the semi-final, Frankfurt, I would never have gone for them to be.
Frankfurt are a good side.
Obviously, Jovic was there, and now he's gone to Real Madrid, but. It's starting for the other teams in other leagues. It's starting to get.
It's a tougher one to pick because you've got to factor in who do you think is going to go out the Champions League.
And that's the thing. That was the difficulty.
And that's where it's always hard.
I can spoil it by saying that's where I've gone, but what have you gone?
Charlie, as your.
Well, I don't like the fact that it happens, but anyway. Again, I don't know enough about European football because I don't watch it. Because as I mentioned earlier, of the two, I would rather watch a Europa League game than a Champions League game. I think. But it still doesn't excite me in the way that maybe more random football matches do. But with that in mind, anyway. Controversially, just because they're the only team I know a little bit about, I think although the domestic form will probably be horrendous, I think under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer they might do a bit better in the Europa League, and I'll go for Man United. I've got no reason for that. Otherwise, I think they're just the English team who I think will probably do the best out of the ones that are in there.
I've gone the exact same way. I've also obviously I'm going to tip Man United to win the Europa League against Arsenal though. But the hard thing about that is whoever comes out of the Champions League in third place.
Yeah,
and that's.
I mean, we're getting genuinely looks of despair from Dan.
Now I know that it is the second hottest day of the year, and we've got one little tiny window open, but you two are an absolute shambles, right?
Well, now can I be brutally honest? I couldn't be bothered to sit there and trawl through the Europa League teams to work out actually who's going to win it. Who's the one that I know? Man United. There you go. So they won't win it. I know for a fact they won't win it.
Probably not.
The only thing I agree with is because we seem to be in a little spell at the moment. Because these two competitions seem to go through a little spell where Spanish teams dominate, then English teams, German teams, Italian teams, etc. I think an English team is going to win it, but I think that English team, and this is where the controversy in the Champions League comes into
Wolves.
it. I'm not tipping Wolves to win it. I'm tipping Chelsea to retain the trophy. They're not able to sign anyone. Obviously, they brought in Pulisic in the summer. They've lost Hazard. Yeah. I think they're going to be so focused on the top four. Frank Lampard, that's basically what his job's going to hinge on, finishing in the top four this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to focus on the league, drop out of the Champions League, and then they've got a really strong backup squad with lots of good young players, the likes of Mason Mount back from Derby, for example. They've still got people like Batshuayi at the club who they're not going to let go now. And that's the thing for Chelsea, because they can't sign anyone, they've actually kept hold of a few more squad members than they would normally. So I think they'll have a stronger squad for the latter stage of the Europa League, and as a result, I think they're going to win it. And I'm even going to go as far as to say, I think it'll be the exact same final.
Arsenal-Chelsea?
I think it's going to be the same final 2 years in a row, and the same victors 2 years in a row.
Yeah. I don't know about Arsenal.
But at least I've gone for a reason rather than supporting the club and not being asked to watch the game.
At least it'll be a lot nearer for the these two teams, because obviously it was in Azerbaijan.
The ones from
the
onwards
in this May, and this year it's going to be in Poland. Oh, sorry, next season it's going to be in Poland, in the Gdansk.
Gdansk, right, very good. Right, we're on the FA Cup now?
Yeah, domestic trophy
So,
time.
I would say
FA Cup, the oldest cup competition in the world.
And one of our favourites at the early stages.
I mean...
People, if you realise, FA Cup starts in August, not in January.
And it finishes in May, Craig, when you can watch the final live on TV with your friends.
Rather than going for a pizza.
It might happen this year.
And can I point out to both of you, Craig, yes, you can watch it on TV. Charlie, you can turn up to some games at non-league grounds earlier in the season too.
The FA Cup, who have you gone for?
Now I've gone for. I think it'll be a minnow this year. I think City might put a bit too much in to try and retain the title, go for the Champions League. If they possibly get Wilf Zaha, I'm going to go for Everton. And I think because you've got Fabian Delph in there, they've signed Andre Gomez on a perm. I just think, the way Watford got there, and they, obviously they come up against Man City. I can just see it being like a minnows final. You've had previous years similar
Portsmouth,
to that.
Cardiff.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I just think that because the lucrative thing of the Champions League and all of that, and the pressure building on City, they've really got to push for that. I think they'll flunk out of the FA Cup, and I think someone like Everton will get there.
Fair enough.
I've gone for Tottenham to win the FA Cup.
I think I'll bottle it.
Against Wolves.
No, not with them in Europe. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
And that is why I've gone for it. Look, Tottenham need to win something by now, and it was close between the FA Cup and the league and the Carabao Cup, but I think to sum up Pochettino's legacy, it needs to be the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Well, it's very disappointing because I've also gone for Tottenham Hotspur. I think they'll finally break their duck this season, and I've gone for them to win a final against Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
So Liverpool last season got knocked out of the FA Cup by Wolves, playing a very, very, very understrength side. Now, the one thing with winning the Champions League this year, I know they haven't done much yet, they will strengthen their squad a little bit. So some of the players they were probably thinking about going out, so like the likes of Divock Origi, probably 3 months ago they were thinking before the semi-final, one that we could probably lose in the summer, and they're not going to do that now. What it does hinge on for Liverpool though is obviously they've got Alberto Moreno's left the club and Nathaniel Klein's just picked up a long-term injury. They need strength in depth at fullback because otherwise they're going to be playing 18-year-olds again. But other than that,
you've only got Alexander-Arnold and Robertson.
And then basically James Milner's the backup for both at the minute. So as long as they get a replacement there, Liverpool will do well in all competitions, but Tottenham Hotspur, I agree, will break their duck and finally win the big one this year. Or the big domestic cup, we should say.
On to the Carabao Cup, which obviously the final is in late February.
It's not going to be any more dramatic, is it?
No. I'm going to be boring with this, only because I think their reserve team is still better than most. Because if you're honest, most Premier League teams, for whatever reason, tend to palm off the League Cup. So I think City will win the League Cup. What I don't understand, as a West Ham supporter, teams like West Ham who put out second string sides against teams, end up going out of that, and then you're into February where you've got nothing to play for because you can't get relegated, you can't make Europe, and actually a nice little cup run in the League Cup would have been quite good.
And West Ham, your team learnt that in the FA Cup last year, didn't they?
Yeah. But I think City, as much as I've said about the Champions League, I think their second string is still fantastically strong, so I think they'll win it. It's quite a boring guess, but that's why, yeah.
Well, I've gone the same route. I've also gone for Man City to win because they're the only ones that take it seriously.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Well, it's not that they take it seriously. They still make 9 or 10 changes. But as Charlie says, it just looks like a first team still.
So much depth.
But I think they're going to beat Liverpool in the final.
Right.
But I think with Liverpool, their problem is they've got 10 games in December.
I don't think Liverpool will get to the final.
Just because they're in the
Club World
Cup. But
I don't think they'll get to the final of both cup competitions. Liverpool.
If you want to predict that, I think Liverpool might win that.
Cody?
I have gone a slightly different route. And what I've gone for is a manager who's going to be under so much pressure to win a trophy this year.
That could be anyone.
Yeah.
In the top 6.
But I think because of that, and because they don't think they'll have much of a chance in the others, I think they're going to go a lot stronger in this competition. They've got some really good players back from loan who had been playing in bigger leagues last season. A lot have gone over to the Bundesliga. And I'm going to go for Arsenal to win the Carabao Cup. Just because I think Emery has to win something this season.
Silence.
But they haven't really strengthened in defence.
They haven't.
But they don't need. I don't think you need to win the Carabao Cup. If I'm honest.
I think Rob Holding coming back is going to be amazing for them. They're going to sign another centre half.
Well, they need to sign another centre half. Koscielny.
They will.
Turn up.
And I'm pretty sure of that. Obviously, Kieran Tierney's possibly coming in as well.
I don't think he'll go.
I think
what I find odd about this situation very, very quickly is they're arguing over 2 million with Celtic, or is it about a report with 2 million extra, you know, and yet they're willing to pay rumoured 60 million for Zaha, which is just baffling. But anyway, yeah.
Well, but the weird thing about that at the moment for Zaha, at the time of recording, he's on his way to Everton for 60 million. So
I think if
he
goes there, that's why I think Everton will win the FA Cup. Just go back a step because. You know, the players they've got, you've only got to turn it on for 5 games. You've only got to really have it, and they've got more than capable of doing that. Yeah. I think Everton's a better move for him. I think he goes to Arsenal, it'll end up like Oxlade-Chamberlain, like Walcott, who promise a lot, never quite get to the heights that they should do. I think Everton will be a better move for him. But anyway, that's a different topic.
And to beat Arsenal, Craig, for Arsenal to beat, I'm going to go for a club outside the top 6, and I think a little minnow will get there this year in the League Cup rather than the FA Cup, which is a bigger one. And I'm going to go. And they've been there a couple of times in recent times, particularly against your Manchester United. Southampton. Che Adams to glory.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't go for Leicester.
No.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't think.
Do you like my reasoning for that one?
Yeah, reason. Okay, moving on to the Checker Trade Trophy, where the League 1 and League 2 clubs only take part in it, and some Premier League under 23 sides. Which hopefully none of us have gone for an under 23 side.
No. I have gone for a team that I predicted last week. Oh no, has he? Oh no.
You bastard.
I've gone for a team that I predicted last week to be an outsider for promotion in League 1, and that is Bristol Rovers. Because I just feel like if they do tail off a bit in the league, they've still got some good quality players there. If you want to listen to my little bit about Bristol Rovers, go back to last week. But Jonathan Clark-Harris, top goal scorer in Checker Trade Trophy, you heard it here first. Off you go, Craig.
I'm gonna go. Obviously, what was the final last year? Sunderland v Portsmouth.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that.
No.
I've gone for Ipswich to win the Checker Trade.
You think they're gonna get promoted and do that as well? Fair play to you.
Well, not many teams have done that before, but it can. Well, I don't think anyone has actually.
Interesting.
I don't think they have. I don't know. I could be wrong. So I think they're going to beat Sunderland.
Right.
Sunderland have a playoff. Oh, sorry, not playoff. A defeat at Wembley, should I say? So I've gone for them to, but only Ipswich to win on penalties.
Right. Okay. And Dan?
Well,
here's the controversial under 23 side that you're going to pick.
You can't have it.
No, I've gone for a similar idea to Charlie this time, which is I've gone for my dark horse that I thought would just miss out on promotion. I've gone for Shrewsbury Town.
Yeah.
They've got some good players, and again, I don't know if they can quite do it over a 46-game season. But if they can put them in for 3 or 4 in the knockout stages, I mean, it does depend on the groups a little bit, doesn't it? But because you don't know which under 23 side you get, and that's going to make it all important. And I don't want an under 23 side to get there, but this year I kind of do, and I'll tell you why, Craig. Because if an under 23 side gets to the final, there will be 10 fans in that end at Wembley. And this stupid thing of having under 23 sides in the competition will only end when one of those sides get to the final.
I see what you're getting at.
I think it will ruin it if it wasn't all under 23 final.
It would be the worst
final ever.
I suppose for us then to have some sort of Phoenix Cup to come out of it, ideally 2 under 23 teams would get there. Because this is a joke, really, this cup.
But for the first time this year, I think all of the big 6 in England
top 6
have an under 23 something. So Liverpool and United didn't work, and they have this year. So I think there's better chance than any. And more importantly, some of the League 1 and 2 sides, because they're getting such low attendances for the games, they're putting out weaker sides now as well.
True.
So on that basis, I'm going for an under 23 side to play Shrewsbury in the final.
And now we move on to the non-league of cups, the FA Trophy, where normally, if you've not been to a non-league final day, it's the FA Trophy and the FA Vase Money. We went to one last year. It was Chelsea Town v Carabao, where it was a fantastic game. Chelsea won.
Quincy Rowe, the hero.
Quincy Rowe, the hero.
What a goal.
He won it in the FA for the Vase. And the FA Trophy final between Leyton Orient and AFC Fire, where unfortunately it was Justin Edinburgh's last game.
Devastating.
Very sad news to hear. AFC Fire won 1-0 thanks to Danny Rowe's fantastic free kick. So we do recommend to go. It's a great deal.
And we'll definitely be there next
wasn't
year.
it?
25, 20
£20. Fantastic day. Only problem is the programme's both-sided.
Let's not talk about that, but you'll definitely see us at the final this year.
We definitely there. We wasn't the big screen, but we weren't against that. So, Charlie, who have you got to win the FA Trophy?
As is well documented, this will be a stab in the dark for me. But again, it's a team that I think underachieved last year. They brought in, I mentioned it last week, Kamango Chimanga from Oxford City, big goal scorer.
Great name, by the way.
I am going to go for Boreham Wood. For no other reason, I think they underachieved last year. I think they probably won't quite, similar to what I said about Bristol Rovers, I think they might just miss out in the playoffs, etc., to go up. And so for that reason, I think that they might put basically put all their chips in on the FA Trophy. Nice day out for the fans. And yeah, local lad Kane Smith, who lives just around the corner from me, actually plays for them. He's back from injury. I think he ruptured his ACL or something like that. He's back this year. Good player. So yeah, I think there might be an outside bet to win it.
I've gone with a team that Cody's predicted in the past. Not obviously to win the trophy, because we didn't do one last year. But I've gone for Wrexham to win the trophy.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they're going to beat Solihull Moors.
Do you think?
Yes.
You think they're going to have a big year, Solihull, don't you?
Yeah, team first. I just think Wrexham, they're due something, Wrexham.
Doesn't necessarily mean you get it.
I know that. But why they've been so disappointing in leagues, and obviously lost out in playoffs in the past and in and around. And I just think that there's something for them this year, and I think it's going to be the FA Trophy.
So I've gone a little bit differently, and I've tried to base it, because you guys have all gone for ones that you think are going to be up there in the league potentially.
I did say Wrexham would be up there in the league.
I've tried to go for teams where I think they might have a struggle early in the season. They might change a manager, and it will be too late for them to get into the promotion contention. But don't forget, the National League sides don't come into the FA Trophy until about December time, I don't think.
Yeah.
So based on that, I'm thinking they'll be a bit more settled then. They can sign players through till March, of course, and we'll see what happens. So on that basis, I've gone for a stab in the dark here at Yeovil Town. So we mentioned towards the end of last season they got in American owners, and they'd sacked their long-standing manager. They got relegated, as I correctly predicted.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to go up this year, because it's been a bit of a funny summer over there. But I just think over a 4 or 5 game period, why not?
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to
sorry, I'm just going back to his theory of 2 teams like being up there. But you've got to remember last year's final was Leyton Orient, who won the league, and the AFC final who lost out.
That's not been common. That's not been common.
No, that's what I know, but I'm just saying, like, that was your final last year.
My only other point is I think that York will be in the final from the National League North for the same reason. Like you mentioned with Steve McNulty, over 4 or 5 games, players like that, lots of experience, potentially get there, and over a long season might find it a bit more difficult.
I'm just thinking, for the last point I make about this, from a very selfish point of view for us, because we're obviously going to be going, who is going to bring them biggest support? Like Leyton Orient had pretty much half the ground, didn't they? You know, and you can understand why, ex-football league club.
Let's be honest. If it's going to be in terms of atmosphere, we need Notts County there.
Yeah.
You need a bigger team that's obviously that can travel well.
Yeah,
so it's not far from Wembley.
Maybe a Notts County then would go down.
The Notts County, let's be honest, in terms of club reputation, are masses above most of the National League, and as a result, we'd like to see them there.
So, if our predictions are correct, whoever we predicted will beat Notts County in the final, so we get a good atmosphere. Because
I can assure you, Yeovil will not bring a good game.
Just moving on, we was going to do the FA Vars, but similar to the FA Cup, there's quite a lot of teams. Say quite a lot. It's about 600, 700,
and
800.
There is one other problem, isn't there? Is that there's a little bit of a difficulty for you two, because you are part of a club that's involved in the competition.
Yeah, and they're going to win it.
We're
going to Wembley. Charlie's doing the warm up.
You both said you were going to predict it, and I honestly, and I don't mean this against you, I know you're not involved in the first year, you're doing the reserves, but I really hope you don't get to the final, because I have to sit on my fucking own in the stand.
That is true, because we'll be in the poshest seats.
No. With all due respect, and I would say this to their face, they haven't got a hope in hell of winning that. I don't honestly think that their first team will get promoted. I don't think they'll win the league. I think they'll meander mid-table. Out of all the cups, it'll be a nothing season.
And a few days after this episode comes out, Charlie Betts will be looking for a new job. So if anyone is step 5 or 6,
what I will say, because I did their pre-season training, their fitness levels will be outstanding. Apart from that,
one question I have, if by miracle Crawley Green do get to the final of the FA Vase,
yes, you get a ticket.
No, not that. If you're in the Club Wembley seats, I've already mentioned when we offered last year about the media suite, I don't want to be there. I don't want the posh seats, but please throw me over some hot dog and wedges.
No, I'll be honest.
We'll be running on the pitch.
No, I don't think, I wouldn't want to be in the official bit because I'm not an official for them. Anyway, that's another.
Well, you
discussion
are
for another
technically
time.
part of the cup. But FA Vase, I think, is won the cups.
I'm not saying it.
Great money though.
That one we saw this year, one of the
Fantastic
best finals.
final.
One of the best finals I've seen in a long time.
And
a long time.
we've got to say, I know we've mentioned it a couple of times already, it was one of the best days out. 2 games for 20-25 quid at the home of English football. I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant occasion. All I would say is buy your food before you get in the ground because Jesus Christ, the prices in there are absolutely diabolical. Unless you want to pay 5 quid for a donut, you make sure you go to the McDonald's round the corner.
Which we did anyway. And that is it for the Cup Final winners' predictions. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment in the section below who you think will win all these cups. We'll probably get them all wrong.
Is that the official title, by the way?
Probably. I don't know. But you'll see it anyway. Follow us on Twitter @HonestFootball3 and we'll see you in June for the results.